Do you live on an island known for its heat? Maybe you live in the Bahamas or in the Dominican Republic. Did you know that you can also live in a relatively hot island if you live in Chicago? And yes, I know Chicago isn't an island in the traditional sense, but it is an urban heat island. The basic principles of what an urban heat island is and how it forms will be outlined for you in this lesson. An urban heat island is a metropolitan area that is much warmer than its surrounding rural areas. Basically, we're talking cities here, namely cities with lots of asphalt, little vegetation, and lots of tall buildings. Chicago, New York, LA, Shanghai, Tokyo, and so on. How much warmer is an urban heat island than its surrounding areas? On average, about 10 degrees Fahrenheit. To begin understanding the basics of why this is the case, just imagine what you'd see out in the country. Lots of green trees, grass, open fields, windy forests, few buildings, and few roads. And then, imagine transporting yourself to a large city. How would this be different? Few trees or grass, open fields replaced by tall buildings, little wind blowing in any one direction as you walk the narrow streets in between the huge buildings, lots of roads, and lots of cars. It's these visual, structural, and environmental variances that create differences between the temperature of an urban area compared to a nearby rural area. Knowing all of this, why is an urban heat island formed? Care to guess? Is it because A. Tall buildings reduce wind speeds that would help disperse the heat in an otherwise open area of land? B. Lots of densely placed tall buildings trap energy in their walls, radiating out that hot energy into the surrounding environment, much like a canyon would. C. Cities are full of asphalt and concrete that absorb, as opposed to reflect, the sun's heat. Or D. Cities have little vegetation that provides natural cooling in the form of shade. What's the answer? All of the above, and a whole lot more, in fact, a lot more. Tall buildings act to not only negate the heat-dispersing effects of wind, but they also trap hot air in between them. Buildings not only trap and then radiate out the sun's hot energy from their walls, but they also add warmth to the surrounding environment in the form of air conditioner use, which actually needs to generate more heat in order to produce a cool flow of air into a building. Cities have asphalt that absorbs heat and cars driving on this asphalt. Cars that, alongside city factories burning their own fossil fuels, not only add heat to the environment directly, but also produce an urban haze of pollution that acts like a mini greenhouse, further trapping thermal radiation, that is to say heat, in the city. Vegetation, which is often lacking in cities, provides some cool shade. The evaporation of water from plant leaves and from the soil where plants live provides an added cooling effect, much like a cool mister on a hot day in an amusement park. So you see, cities are full of heat-trapping and heat-producing problems. This is why they form an urban heat island, a metropolitan area that is much warmer than its surrounding rural areas. Remember, the reasons for a UHI include tall buildings that trap heat and reduce wind speeds, asphalt and concrete, which absorb rather than reflect energy, and little vegetation, which means no shade.